Since everybody keeps asking how I make my dressing, I'm going to show y'all how to make Dre and Marco's famous chicken dressing. All right, we're going to start with cornbread. So you're just going to bake you some cornbread on 350 until it's done. And then I'm going to add 3 boxes of stovetop stuffing. This is necessary because this is where you're going to get all of your herbs and seasonings. So you do want to put that in there. So I use 3 boxes per pan. This is going to give you all the flavor that you're pretty much going to need. You're going to need very little seasoning. I get these from Walmart. They're only $1 a box. I use turkey and chicken flavored. You use whatever you like, but that's what I like to use. And that's what makes Dre and Marco's dressing so good. So you're just going to mix it all together with your hands. Use gloves if you're going to be serving other people, just so you don't transfer anything. And so we're just going to mix it up real good to where that seasoning, if you notice the flavor from it, gets mixed in real good. I'm making 2 pans for this Sunday. So, so just doing the same thing to the second pan. So we're just going to add it all in, and we're going to mix it together because the flavor is so good in there. You don't have to go through the trouble of getting all these herbs and seasonings yourself, especially if it's only $1. So I just kind of mix it all together. So, this is called stovetop stuffing. Okay. And you want it to look like this. All right. So that means you've done it well if you did that. Next, we're going to add the chicken. Now, what I did was boil my chicken for hours until it pretty much fall off the bone. And you want to boil it with celery and bell pepper. And just add a little sage in the water. No salt. Don't add any salt. Just water, celery, bell pepper, and sage. And then once you debone the meat, take your bones out, people. Add your meat in there. And then you're going to add... Now, because it's a business, I only do cream of chicken because some people have allergies. But if you're not allergic, the best way to make it is to use cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, and cream of celery. 1 small can of each, okay? But for my business purposes, I only use 1 family-sized can of cream of chicken, okay? So you want it to look like that. And then we're going to get ready to add the juice in it, okay? So you keep your stock that you boiled your chicken in for flavor. Don't use water. You're going to pour it in. So you just kind of guesstimate about how much juice you'll need, but just keep the juice nearby because you will have to come back and add more for the dry spots. But you're going to pour it in. And you're just going to combine. Okay, so everything that you just put in there, you're just mixing it all together. You want to make sure it gets incorporated really well. But don't over water it because you're not trying to go for a watery consistency. Okay, and I'm going to show the consistency here in just a moment, what you should have. But yeah, you just keep stirring. You see I needed more juice, so I'm just going to come back and add more of that stock, right, that I boiled the chicken in. And you just keep stirring. And I'm telling you, this is going to be the best dressing you ever had in your life, okay? So just stir it and make sure you don't have any dry spots. You want it all moist, okay? So I'm just mixing everything in, incorporating it really well. All right. And that actually looks pretty good. I don't need any more in that one, so that's good. Now we just move to the next one. As you can tell, not even close to enough juice, so we're going to add more. So add more of that stock in there. All right. And, like I said, take your time. Don't over pour because we don't want it watery. And then you just stir and mix everything in. It's very important to debone your chicken, guys. Don't just throw whole chicken in there because you're going to have all kinds of bones that you have to pick out your mouth when you're eating your dressing. So I like to just kind of eat my dressing knowing that I'm not going to get poked in my mouth by a chicken bone, okay? So I'm noticing that there is some little dry spots over there, so probably going to add more juice in there. I'm sure I am. Because it's still not at the right consistency, okay? So you don't want that dry texture right there. You want more juice in there. So I'll be adding some more juice here in just a second. Yeah, you see how dry it is right there. So we're going to add more juice, but don't do too much because we don't want it too liquidy. There you go. And then we're just going to mix that around. If you see it, it's getting right to that consistency that we're looking for. So just keep mixing it in. Any dry spots you see, do it. And you can take the juice, and kind of bring it around to where you need it. See how I'm pulling it over there? It's a little dry, but I'm taking my juice from that side and pulling it over. So yeah, just make sure so you don't have any watery side over there. So just pull it over to the dry spots. There you go. And that looks really good, so I don't need any more juice. But yeah, you want to go for that consistency. You don't want it too mushy. Now, the only thing you need is salt and sage at this point. Just a pinch of salt. I don't do any measurements. I just kind of pinch it with my hand. And then sprinkle on some sage. If you're putting more than this in your dressing, you're doing it wrong. You don't need all that. That's what your stovetop stuffing was for. Just sage and salt. Mix it around really good. And I'm telling you, only a pinch of salt. And that's why I say don't add any salt to your water, because adding salt to your water may make your food salty because you don't know how much is in there. So just always just come back with a pinch. And then you just kind of smooth it out and get it ready for the oven. Yeah, so just smooth it out. We're going to do the same to the other one. Mix it in. Mix your sage and salt in. All right. And then just smooth it out once you're done. This is a very simple process, easy to make, and it tastes so good. The flavor is really good. And that cream of chicken is important because it keeps it from being dry. We don't want any dry dressing, okay? We don't want dry dressing. We don't want plain dressing. So that's why it's important to follow these steps. So you're just going to smooth it out. And then get it ready to go in the oven. And then I always just kind of take a little taste test. So you just grab a spoon, a clean spoon, and just scrape it off of the spoon, okay, the big spoon. And you taste it. Boom. If it tastes good, pop that sucker in the oven. You want to do 350 for about 30 minutes, just so it get a little brown on top. And then I always save that little chicken, and I make chicken gravy to go on top, which I'll give y'all the chicken gravy recipe later. And then you just add your cranberry sauce, what other sides you like, and boom, you ready to eat. I'm telling you, this is a hit. And then of course that tofu butter cake. Oh my gosh. Y'all enjoy. Bye.